patrol car Delta 9 with PC Roger Willie and PC Clifford Waycott, based at Oakhampton, were out on night duty patrolling the A3072 Hatherley to Holsworthy Road. Precisely 1 minute past 4 o'clock this morning, they sighted an object 400 yards away from them and at treetop level. They reported immediately to Oakhampton Police Station, where further men were brought out. PC Willie, you were driving the patrol car at the time. Describe it to us.
Well, the object was likened unto a cross, although the inner parts were something similar to the points of a compass, and they were quite blurred, the inner part of the cross.
But it was brilliant, brilliant white, brilliant light.
How in fact did you see it? I mean, did it make any kind of noise to you?
No, there was no noise. The first time we saw it was when it was just above treetop height and ahead of us. And from then, Consul Willie just said, here we go then, and we drove out after it, if you know what I mean.
What kind of speed were you travelling at?
We were travelling very fast.
Did it make any kind of sound?
No sound that I heard at all. There was no outside noise apart from the noise of the car itself.
And the acceleration away from us was terrific. So really, we didn't get under it to hear any sound.
But you were really close enough to be absolutely certain that your eyes weren't fooling you.
Oh yes, it was just in front of us.
There was no question whatsoever that this was a figment of the imagination. It was definitely there. It was definitely either manned by some sort of being or remotely controlled. It was definitely being controlled.
Dance that's played in the beginning between the press and the police, because the police don't want to give out too much information so it doesn't paint the case or whatever. And then the like a loud dance. Give me a second. There's like a loud ass plane. Give me a sec.
Just take a look at your DMs. I sent you something on
Yes.
X. Take a look at the fucking helicopter that just like flew over. This is what was making all that crazy noise.
Just flew over you? Well, that's what?
And that's because I had like I would have been probably able to catch about like 4 or 5 photos of this thing because it wasn't moving too quickly.
Holy shit, buddy. So I just want to explain to y'all what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at is, I can only describe it as a fucking UFO. I mean, it looks like a fucking UFO, dude. That's the thing, right? You look at those jets, and They look like fucking UFOs now.
Everything's a dang UFO.
Fuck, dude.
Everything looks so weird. And I wonder if the FAA rules have changed with the lights and shit that they're allowed to have. You know, like every car has their own fancy LEDs. Imagine if everything in the sky starts having that.
Dude, that's what was crazy about the one that happened during our Epstein episode was like, the only thing that made me think it might not have been a drone was there was like no FAA lights on it at all.
Well, yeah.
No green, there's no red.
Yeah, dude, it still weirds me out. And what's funny is like anytime I hear like any kind of plane or anything going by above, I immediately like run out and check. Like, cause sometimes some shit will pass that it's like loud enough I can hear while I'm in my house and the TV's on and everything, you know?
Dude, so crazy. I mean, so you haven't seen anything since then?
Nah, nothing prosaic. Nothing fucking cool either, you know?
Well, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. You're watching the Gabriel Speaks Podcast, and we are chilling tonight with Flak Morty.
Ooh, wee, Rick.
AKA the Flak Magnet, everyone. The Flak Magnet's in the house. We love Flak Magnet here for a UFO episode because there's been some interesting developments in UFO land. I mean, it seems like it got negative for a minute. I don't know, like different competing narratives or competing interests. I don't know, but it just seems like there's a lot of back and forth going on there for a while. And so I was listening to these two guys, Bryce, Zabel, and Brent Friedman. They host Sound, Light, and Frequency. I think it's on Spotify. It's like where the new stuff gets dropped at. But they made a show back in 90s Hollywood called Dark Skies. And they tell some interesting stories about being approached by interested parties in the intelligence field of certain military branches, specifically the Navy. And I watched their show on News Nation with the host with the mostest, Ross Coulthart. And what I really enjoyed about the interview was not so much Ross, but them. They have a lot of really interesting stories about the going-ons of Hollywood folk when it comes to UFO stuff.
I was just going to make an Alex Jones joke there, but I felt it was not so tasteful, you know.
Well, I just
Bohemian Grove, something or other, with aliens.
Oh man, I just thought it was refreshing hearing these guys tell their perspective on what was going on. Yeah, so anyway, I cut in a segment of that interview, and I do encourage y'all to check out their podcast because they have a very interesting story to tell, and it doesn't involve throwing anybody under the bus, right? I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, heck yeah. I'm surprisingly unread on these characters up here. So today I'm in the unusual position where I'm the one who's going to be learning all the cool shit.
Yes, but you do know about this gentleman right here. They won
That Gorky Borchek?
A1 Steven Spielberg, which, by the way, Bryce Zabel and Brent Friedman say was also approached by an interesting character. So, yeah, just a lot of really interesting stories. But one thing I believe it was Bryce said that really stuck out to me was that he thinks Disclosure Day is like Spielberg's, like, you know, he's up there in age, and this is kind of like what he really thinks is going on.
Oh, so not so much a deathbed confessional, but a
maybe a swan song of sorts.
Yeah, more like a conspiracy theorist swan song.
Yeah. Now, I haven't been one to go and seek out plot lines, especially of movies I know I'm going to see like in the theater. I definitely know I'm going to go see this in the theater. And so to me, the less I know about it, the better. But the preview is pretty amazing, and hopefully I have formatted it correctly to where we have the permission to use a preview, because it says copyright at the bottom and all that stuff. So hopefully I've done it correctly and we don't get canceled again.
I'm also going to see this in the theaters. I believe that I got the perfect Spielberg costume set up. So I'm going to try and sneak in as him at the premiere. We'll see how that goes. I'm very, very tall and very thin, so I don't think this will work. And I've got no special effects for age.
I think in there with the red carpet, roll down the red carpet.
Just paint yourself completely red. What you have to do is camouflage with the carpet itself. And as long as you stay low to the ground,
we just have to learn that tongue speech that they're using in the middle. Have to learn all that stuff, you know.
I'm a freak. What is it? Fluent in Wookiee, but not so much any other alien speech.
I have a good friend that's pretty fluent in Wookiee himself.
Nice.
Okay. So we will get to Disclosure Day. Kind of saved it for last because they release like this. It's a trailer that's over 3 minutes. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, nice. No, I haven't. Listen, I like Spielberg. I kind of like. I try to ignore the lore with him and some of the claims that have been made about him, and just look at the art, because a few of his movies have been fucking phenomenal. You know, so I try to keep it there. Same thing with like trailers nowadays. I try to avoid them things like The Plague, just because they often show too much and usually like the best part of the movie. So I have not seen this one.
But I feel like you can't ruin a Spielberg movie. But when you check out this trailer towards the end, you'll be glad you checked it out for sure. Okay, so but to start with, I alluded to it as we were getting going here. The legacy UFO programs. I've talked about it before. The way that the Patriot Act was used to organize, if you will, these SAPs or USAP programs, I believe, allegedly, that they use the Patriot Act to organize these programs that previously, I mean, they still keep the stovepiping, but now they can connect the dots. Certain people can connect the dots.
Oh yeah, and it's also for like FOIA purposes, right? Like I think they got rid of the Twitter page because this is back when it was still Twitter. But they got rid of the FBI's disclosure page, where they would put out like all the recently unredacted and undisclosed things. So they stopped that pretty soon, and now they also changed names of all these projects so damn often that you ask for one, you're only getting a certain amount of paperwork, even though it's a legacy program, you know?
Right. And I've seen videos where, like, you know, there's folks that will talk about programs they've been a part of where they don't know really what they're working on. You know what I mean? Like, it's a piece of something, but they don't know what it is or where it goes. And you're familiar with McGonigal, right?
Yes, Joe McGonigal. He was like a remote viewer of sorts.
Yeah. And he said the thing about, like, because he supposedly had remote viewed into the future. And he said the thing about remote viewing into the future is that the person a lot of times isn't going to understand what they're looking at. Like, if you were in the 20s and you remote viewed to 2015 and you saw iPhone, you wouldn't even know what that was or how to describe it to anyone, because it would just be so far beyond your comprehension. And that was the point he was making about remote viewing into the future, is it's dangerous because oftentimes you don't even know what you're looking at, and that could lead you down the wrong road. if you believe in such things. What is your feeling on remote viewing? Oh, I probably caught him as he was doing a coffee refill. I will tell you personally, until Flak gets back.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, I thought I was talking without the microphone on mute.
Doesn't work without the mic.
I don't know, man. I've had weird experiences from time to time. Like, I don't know if it was like maybe psychedelics or like near-death experience that kind of caused me to hallucinate, and none of it's really relevant. But I put a little bit of fruition into it, and I don't think the government would have put so much money into testing it if there was nothing like to it.
Yeah, that's kind of my opinion. Is if there wasn't anything to it, then they wouldn't keep pursuing it. I mean, there's still
and writing so many damn papers.
Right, and being right a lot of the time too.
Yep.
Unless you want to just flat out
synchronicities.
say it's a con, which I don't. To me that just seems closed-minded. I don't know why these different.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. That's the whole thing. That I usually will give it a little bit of credence to maybe something's a con, is only because I wouldn't put it past someone to try and pull a fucking hoax. I wouldn't put it past someone to try and what's it called? When you forge money, I wouldn't forge art, forge historical documents. Like, people do that shit all the time, and they put a lot of work. Like, oftentimes it's like 15 years of work into one thing to sell it for $200,000-$300,000 if it works, and a lot of times they get caught. So I don't know, maybe not, but I tend to think that, like, I don't know, what do they say with a psyop? Even if it's psyop, it's still like a good bit of truth in there to make you question.
Well, Fletcher says remote viewing is a gateway
Fletch,
drug.
what up, man?
I believe it. You probably could if you were able to harness that. I could see how that could be addictive for sure.
I just want to say, what up, Fletch? He's part of our super nerd club. We hang out on the weekends. We have a glass of milk, and we discuss zero-born energy.
Tea and biscuits.
Yeah, definitely the tea and biscuits. We have to have those. And you know what? I'm going to say we're going to call them cookies, because we're not eating dry, like hearty Texan biscuits. We're having cookies. We're having a spot of tea. So quite wonderful, actually.
It is a tasty crumpets. Speaking of tasty treats, how about the little flyby you had a few days ago?
Yeah, that thing was wacky, buddy. That thing was crazy. And I'm just wondering where the fuck the rest of it is. Because you're getting almost full circles there.
Right.
The body of it would have been, if those are blades, because I'm thinking if anything, maybe those are the rotor blades I couldn't see, and somehow they had, I didn't have a flash on my camera. A flash wouldn't have worked in the dark anyway. It wouldn't have, unless that thing was as close as I don't even know what. The flash wouldn't have reacted with it. You know what I mean? Not unless
it probably would have just made it worse.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. I don't know what the hell that is. Still freaks me out. I'm still trying to figure it out. And the coolest part was when we went and listened back to it, was hearing that thing approach.
Yeah, dude. It definitely was making noise on the approach, and I cranked up the volume, and yeah, you can hear it for sure.
Then the very next day, were you in the space that I was hosting on X where oh man, I forget what we were talking about, because I think it even threw me off then. I think I lost my train of thought. Maybe it was like plasmoids and having some crazy science space. And there's this crazy odd, high-pitched, bug buzzing noise. As a kid, me and Untitled talked about it, and it sounded like cicadas right? But to me, like as a kid, I remember the cicada noise that would happen like once every 3-4 years would be like an echoing. They all would sync, but it would be from omnidirectional. You know what I mean?
You're
Like
gonna
you'd
have
hear
to
it from all
educate
around.
me. You're gonna have to educate me on the cicada line.
Oh, cicadas are crazy. They also have like a weird lifespan where and like a life cycle where they only hatch every 3-4 years or something like that, and
Hmm.
they fly in droves and they're huge, and then they die, and then all of a sudden there's like hundreds of bugs on the ground that are like this, like as big as a fucking silver dollar,
Hmm.
you know. But they make this like bzzz, but like a really like a high pitched. And like this is the wildest part about a cicada. It's like a bee. Like this thing is so fat, and the wings are so improportionate to like I'm not sure how it flies. I think it's probably like a some sort of sound resonance thing in combination with the vibrating of the wings, because the wings seem to be more directed as opposed to the the flapping, keeping it afloat and pushing it. You know, like no, same thing with a bee. It has that weird hobbling flight. It's like a warble.
Wow.
But yeah, so it was a
Yeah.
very mechanical, one singular, but extremely loud, right? And it sounded to me like it was coming from the lamp post across from me because I was sat on my porch, I think having a cigarette while the space was going on, and it's loud enough that everyone in the space heard it. And
Yeah.
even Untitled was like, yeah, dude, it sounded loud as shit and it sounded mechanical. But then when I took
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 steps towards it, it stopped.
Weird,
Like
man.
weirdest part.
Well,
But
maybe it
I
altered the flow or something. Who knows?
got no idea, dude. But it was kind
Did
of
you
weird,
see?
and the
So
timing was
Fletcher
weird.
says, "Did you dust or smoke? Did you see any dust or smoke anywhere?"
What from like rotor wash or anything from the crack?
Yeah.
No, dude. There was
Nothing.
nothing other than sound and a fuck ton of light coming off that thing.
Wow.
Now,
That
the
is so
first one I
crazy.
saw when I was a kid, it was more of like an ambient light. Like it didn't cast any light. This thing looked like it cast light. The other thing looked like it didn't cast any light. It was like a candlelight behind a stained glass window was the one I
Right.
originally saw.
Right.
This one was not like that. This one was like bleach white fucking LED lights, but like big panels that were not they weren't hard, like a soft spot, dead pixels, anything like that. It was just one giant solid panel next to another giant solid panel.
Wow. What do you think UFOs are, man? Like the ones that truly have no explanation.
I don't know, dude. Whatever I saw was looked more military than anything. You know,
Yeah.
like just because of I don't know, there were no visible guns or anything like that, but like it looked like like a tank. You know what I mean? Like a tank wouldn't need that cannon to look like a big military structure. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting that um, since we've been fighting against it started with Venezuela. We basically just come out and said, "Yeah, we got DEWs." I mean, we always had to kind of admit it, but now it's like we have kind of flaunted it. So it's definitely a different, different approach.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty. I was watching a video of one of the soldier, and who knows? Honestly, that's why I'm not sharing it. I was watching a video of supposedly one of the soldiers that was hit with a DW during the Venezuelan raid. He said he like fell over, puked, he couldn't move for a long time, and
Well, go into a bit of detail about that. Is that whole thing like you know we chat with Eric Hecker about that all the time.
yeah, no, yeah, they. I don't know what they used, but basically these, whatever team they sent in there, I would assume like SEALs or Delta or Air Force Special Recon or a mix of them. I don't know. But whoever they sent in there they had armed with some shit that we haven't used in the field before, clearly. And we zapped them with it, and all these soldiers got sick, went to the ground. I think some of them died. And basically it made it just kind of a shooting field for these guys after they got out of the helicopters. They had these guys that couldn't even hold a gun laying on the ground. They just bloop, took them out as they went, and they got the president. Pretty crazy. Some would call that dirty, but I don't think there is any rules in warfare. So,
But there's supposed to be, or at least a fucking line drawn for human decency.
yeah. But I mean, if you think about it, I think that kidnapping. So I know the Geneva Convention says you can't assassinate another leader. But like, I don't know if kidnapping is up there, but we definitely killed the leader of Iran. So I don't know that we just don't give a fuck about the Geneva Convention anymore, and there's just no rules or what. I have no idea. But I can.
If I'm being honest here, I think the Geneva Convention has been more of a Geneva suggestion. You know, like, I don't think they ever fucking followed that thing. You know, they make sure that the news says they do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's hard to, for sure. You tell a guy that, you know, someone's been shooting at him for a while to treat him like a human being afterwards. That's a lot to ask.
I mean, war has always been brutal, but at least, like, I don't know, before guns, you had to figure some shit out. You know what I mean? It was more strategy. You had arrows, you had fucking jousting, the long sticks, and then you had, like, broadswords and fucking brass knuckles, you know?
Yeah, it was like World War I. They came out with the machine gun, right? Towards the end of World War I.
Yeah, dude. The Japanese, like, they were pretty quick in using that once they figured it out, yeah.
Yeah, crazy, man. You see that old footage and it is just nuts. And you think about the way those guys had to fight in the trenches like that. Holy cow.
Exactly.
But, you know, I watched this video of us dropping some bombs in Iran, and that seemed pretty violent too. Especially because it was like right in the middle of a city. It just sucks, man. There's no good part about war. That's for sure. Now, the Legacy UFO program, like that transition there, they've been at war for a long time. And so far, I think there's probably some other, I'm sure that there's some other names out there, but so far, what I can say confidently, those that are involved in the Legacy program are in that picture there. I can confidently say they know more than they let on. What are your thoughts on any of these characters? You familiar with any of these characters, Flak?
I see. Clapper.
So we got James
Mr.
Clapper.
Putoff, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, James Clapper was the very first DNI.
Oh, Sullivan, don't really know of her. Of course, Davis. He's fucking. He's kind of hysterical. I just as a character, I like Davis. And
Yes.
Hal Putoff, we know from the Amy Eskridge.
All over the place.
Yeah, well, I've seen his. Yeah, I've seen his name mentioned in everything, and actually, he came up yesterday when I was covering Ken Shoulders and EVOs and T Towns and Brown and stuff. But like, Putoff is to me is, I don't know, more of a bad actor than he is anything else.
It's starting to seem that way, right?
Yeah, but you fill me in on the rest, because there's at least two there that I'm not well acquainted with.
Yeah. Well, so you know Tulsi Gabbard, right?
Yeah, Tulsi's got the hair things, the rogue streaks.
Yes, and she's the DNI, which is the Director of National Intelligence. Which until the attacks on 2001, this job did not exist. The DNI is created, and James Clapper is the first one. James Clapper becomes a DNI. He immediately fires the 4 closest people below him and hires O'Sullivan to replace all 4 of them as the deputy DNI. And he has Glenn Gaffney, who was at the time in charge of, quote, collection and intelligence. So I had a top reporter named Gabriel Speaks go a little more in depth with this. I'm going to have him bring us more here. It's a pretty good report, actually. It's pretty good. The USA Patriot Act wasn't written for UFOs or legacy programs or the long shadow of Cold War secrets. What it created was something far more useful. Legal gravity. A framework where secrecy naturally collapsed inward, where anything labeled national security could be pulled deeper, tighter, and further from daylight. James Clapper understood this better than most. By the time he reached the Director of National Intelligence, Clapper wasn't just managing intelligence streams. He was managing risk. Not the risk of foreign adversaries, but the risk of exposure. The kind that doesn't show up on threat matrices. The kind that ends careers, unravels programs, and raises questions no one in government ever wants to answer publicly. Legacy programs already existed. Deep ones, fragmented, buried under decades of compartmentalization. But the post 9/11 world offered an opportunity. Reclassification through relevance. Counterterrorism became the universal solvent. Anything could be folded into it. Advanced sensors, exotic materials research, aerospace anomalies, intelligence collection methods whose origins could not be explained without revealing too much. The Patriot Act didn't need to mention special access programs by name. It simply removed the friction. It allowed information to move just enough between agencies while remaining invisible to everyone else. It created conditions. Conditions where secrecy was rewarded, where overclassification was safer than transparency, where legacy programs didn't need to be dismantled. They only needed to be rejustified under a new threat model, terrorism. By the time anyone thought to look back, the trail was gone. Not erased, just buried beneath layers of lawful secrecy, emergency authority, and institutional inertia wrapped tightly in the language of national defense and sealed with a signature that read, "Approved in the interest of security."
We'll hear from...
So, it's not that the Patriot Act, made legacy programs. It just allowed all these different involved parties to start communicating about them. And I think that's where shit got weird. I mean, more weird than it is.
Oh, things are pretty weird, though, Mr. McCaslin. Just up and vanishing.
Gone.
Kind of strange.
One of his assistants gone.
I've never heard of this Gabriel Speaks. Sounds wonderful. Are you sure that was a little too good? That was a little too good. I'm wondering if it was AI, fancy professional AI. Do we check his credentials?
It's look, I have a journalism pass from middle school.
Cool. All right, no, that's it. We're good, dude. We're fucking golden, bro.
So look, you've got, this is 2008, right? So 2001, Clapper takes over, gets rid of the next four closest people to his job, replaces them with O'Sullivan, gets together with Gaffney, because Gaffney's pretty much a visionary when it comes to exploiting open source intelligence, and intelligence is starting to realize, like, we can get more shit for free by cracking social media than we can by any of the most of the shit that we pay for free. They just have to pay hackers.
Oh man, if they just went with Richard Doty, they would have had a lifetime supply of Starbucks gift cards.
Well, that was old school, man.
That is a very mid 2000s way to.
Doty can't even type 20 words a minute, dude. Come on.
Like, I feel like that's how Somali princes got most of their money. You know, they were like, "Please send through gift card."
Target.
Or
Okay.
Starbucks, very nice. A prince must have a Starbucks.
That's right.
It's actually Eddie Murphy himself, just in his bedroom, dressed from Coming to America.
I can see it.
Oh, jeez.
I can see it. Yeah. So these guys, you know, the reason you always hear about CIA being bad news is because most of the time, CIA is bad news. I mean, that's usually why you hear about them being bad news. So I shortened down this little clip. If you want, you can go to C-SPAN. You can watch the full clip of Glenn Gaffney basically telling us all how the government was going to hack us.
From Glenn Gaffney, our Deputy Director of National Intelligence for Collection, about his vision for the new universe of open source information.
Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to this great conference. I heard nothing but wonderful things about last year's conference and was excited to have the opportunity to come and speak, to meet you all here today. It is important to be here. It's important because of the critical nature of open source in this intelligence enterprise, and it's important for the opportunity that it represents in terms of what open source can do for the future of the intelligence enterprise. Or it's two overlapping circles, if you will, the human and the technical pieces that are operating in an information plane, in an information universe. We can't just limit our thinking to that one simple circle and what we get via just a handful of open sources. We need to think about that great information universe that's out there, how we look at that and take advantage of that.
There needs to be a clear, defined, identifiable leader of the intelligence community to exert direction and control over the entirety of that community.
Do you believe that you would have the authority to overrule the CIA director?
I do. We have contractors who can gain an unfair advantage, and when you're in a situation where the contractor has the monopoly of knowledge and you don't have the check and balance in your own government workforce, you've got a problem. Yes, I believe ultimately.
So that what he just said right there was so fucking huge, because that gave government carte blanche over anybody they contract with. He's like, look, they can't have the edge on us in anything. That's a problem. So all this stuff we hear about, oh, they gave this piece to Skunkworks and they gave that piece to fucking Boeing, and maybe they did. Not after 9/11. They brought that shit together and took control of it. Guaranteed.
The DNI, if I'm confirmed, is the guy in charge.
So you have said that there are, in fact, secret legal interpretations with respect to both the Patriot Act and the FISA Amendments Act. Do government agencies have the authority to use cell site data to track the location of Americans inside the United States for intelligence purposes?
Senator, I know that that's a question that you've posed to the Director of National Intelligence, Director Clapper. It is a question that is a complicated and difficult question.
When it was revealed that Verizon has been sharing the phone records of millions with U.S. intelligence. And sources tell us this evening that surveillance extended to the internet as well.
The National Security Agency, operating under secret court orders to thwart suspected terror plots, was authorized to track calls to and from phone numbers of millions of Americans.
To what extent does this massive collection of data improve our national security? What cost to our privacy and free expression? If we pick up everything, do we actually have anything?
What I wanted to see is if you could give me a yes or no answer to the question, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
Retrieval issue, and when he was the DNI.
Not wittingly. Looked like he was going to peel the skin off of his forehead.
USDI and DIA director, he placed people in critical roles to manage this issue, both publicly and I'll just say non-publicly as well. General Clapper, Stephanie O'Sullivan, other folks in the IC that are well aware of this issue, that were in rooms discussing this issue. I ask you to be greater leaders on this.
Let me move to energy security. I think in your written response you mentioned energy security along with climate change is concerns that would have national security implications.
Our analysis of the trends and the instability and impacts includes economic indicators. Energy security is a huge driver of that.
Energy security. Hey, Flak, do you know Michael Herrera? He was the one that, he was a Marine, and he saw them loading up like a black-toned UFO with, he thought it was drugs at first, but then after going to some Greer conference, he came to believe it was actually people. Did you hear about this? You're muted, buddy, if you're talking. I don't know.
Oh, I'm thinking. It sounds so familiar. Was he on Sean Ryan?
He was on Sean Ryan. Yeah, he's walking through the woods.
Oh, he shared the episode, I think, with Eric Hecker, where it was a 3.
Possibly. I think so. Yeah, and he's the one that saw the black UFO like down in the valley, basically.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, where they took his weapons and he was like, "Hey, grab my gun," like a professional grabs a gun.
That guy. Yeah, and he was like they had some kind of
Do you remember
futuristic shit they were scanning him with.
Well, yeah, I remember he had a rethinking of his own story and kind of reevaluate, which I don't exactly have a problem with. I mean, if you can reevaluate after thinking about it, especially after telling the story about 100 times, I would expect you to have at least a newer perspective.
The story goes, he thought it was drugs that they were loading on this UFO. But then after he went to this Greer conference in DC in 21, he met someone, I'm not sure exactly who it was, but he was essentially convinced, no, those weren't drugs, those were people, maybe even young people. So that's why his story changed. But this is Michael Herrera in an X space not too long ago. I wish I could give credit to who it was, but I recorded it quickly and I don't remember whose space it was. But this was in an X space. Michael Herrera calling out Eric Davis and Hal Putoff.
What I will say with Eric Davis and Hal Putoff, I know this personally, is that they are legacy program assets. I will say, Eric Davis is being blackmailed and as well as Hal Putoff's being threatened. Okay?
Eric Davis is being blackmailed and Hal Putoff is being threatened, and they are both part of the legacy program. That's crazy. You're still muted, buddy. Now, this guy...
Damn it.
John Herrington. This is a new name to me because, like I said, I was watching that Bryce, Zabel, Brent, Friedman News Nation interview, and I had not been introduced to their story yet. And I thought, oh my God, this guy could totally be one of the key gatekeepers of said legacy program post 9/11, like a guy that might legitimately know it all. Like, forget the smoking man from the X-Files. This guy is like the smoking man's boss. That's who this guy is.
Yeah, ooh. Intriguing.
Possibly.
That was my favorite rabbit hole.
Oh, man.
Like, before I really knew anything, aside from like just a pop culture lore, I was freaking out, trying to figure out who the fuck the smoking man is in real life.
So good. Such a good series.
I turned into the smoking man just trying to figure it out.
Well, you're going to
love
love
this. 45 lung replacements so far, but you know,
the 46 was a failure. Complete failure. On a 46. They didn't shoot some antibacterial spray first, got an infection. 46 was a failure.
It was a little dusty. They should have at least whipped it off like a beach towel, you know?
Exactly. It's a bummer. You get those new surgeons in, and things can go wrong. Okay, so you're going to love this story then, because this is Brent Friedman's story about his buddy who he had known since his childhood, John Herrington, who had become Secretary of Energy. And if you know anything about the UFO lore, you know that some of it leads to the Department of Energy. Maybe some of the most real shit.
I'm going to say, by the way, you said that with just about as much confidence as any government official has ever said anything to do with UFOs. The disclosure movement.
That's right. That's right.
Disclosure?
Okay. Yeah, look, disclosure. Yes. Do you know,
No, it's all right. You don't know all the fucking secrets. You're allowed to answer with an inflection that says, this is more of a question, maybe. They are not allowed to do that. As the people who are supposed to be fucking in charge of these programs. They should have a little authority. You know, they should put a little umph in it, at least when they say it, so that I believe it. You know?
Right. Okay. You're going to love this story. Everyone else, you're going to love this story. This is an amazing story. And this is why I'm now a new fan of Bryce, Zabel, and Brent Friedman. The interview they do with Ross is full of these stories, and I can only imagine that their own podcast, the Sound, Light, and Frequency podcast, is probably chock full of even more just really kind of amazing shit. I mean, I'm not getting paid by these guys. I'm not trying to hype them up. It's so refreshing to hear some new real stories, right? Like, anyway, I digress. Here we go. This is John S. Herrington.
How much time would you say this is? Because I'm going to get some sweet tea going.
Oh, 2-3 minutes. You're good.
And so we were close, but at 18 years old, I hadn't seen him in years. Our family had moved away. We still got Christmas cards and exchanged pleasantries with him. And all of a sudden, he's calling me on the phone out of the blue and says, hey, Brent, I've moved the family back east. I'm working in the Reagan administration. I need you to move 2 cars from Walnut Creek with our dog and some stuff we left in the garage across the country. And you can bring a couple friends. I'm going to pay you guys well, and you'll have a great time driving across the country. When you get here, I'll show you around Washington, D.C., get you into the Oval Office and, Smithsonian, the whole thing. Like, that night, I saw him come home from work in a black Lincoln Town Car with 2 Secret Service guys, attending to him, a briefcase handcuffed to his wrist, was brought into the house, taken right into his office where the briefcase goes into a wall safe. And I'm looking at this person going, what is this man's job? He said, oh, I can't talk about it. I'm working for the president in a special capacity, and it's all highly classified. he was not forthcoming with what the job was. But the more I pushed him and the more he had to drink, he eventually said to me, well, look, the fact of the matter is, to get this job, I had to be briefed for a number of months in an underground facility in West Virginia. And, I was like, wow, that sounds intense. And he goes, yeah, I used to cry myself to sleep every night.
Wow.
Now, again, a man's man. When I was growing up, the thought of him crying once in his life was unthinkable to me. The idea of him crying every night, I was shocked. And I said, well, what would cause you to do that? And he said, Brent, this is not the world I thought I was bringing my daughters into. All I could say was, well, what about me? I'm in this world too. Like, I need to know something. And he said, well, I can't go into that. This is like highly classified material. And I said, John, I'm sitting here like you've just put to the edge. I need to know something. And he said, well, okay, I'll tell you what. I know when you were growing up, you were into science fiction and comic books and all that stuff. Well, aliens are real. They're here, and I've seen them.
Wow.
And he said it with just the most casualness, like just throwing me a bone. Like, okay, can we stop talking now? And I kind of was taken aback, and I said, what do you mean? Are they alive? And he said, I can't say. I said, you can't say or you won't say? And he said, I can't say. And I said, well, okay, hold on a second. How is it that everyone doesn't know the truth? And he said, oh, lots of people know the truth. You can walk into any bookstore and you're going to find all sorts of books that contain all sorts of truth. And right next to them, you'll find books that we published that are full of lies and disinformation. And he said, there's a multi-billion-dollar campaign to keep this covered up.
Holy crap, dude. I mean, he gets more into that story. And again, I encourage you all to go check it out on News Nation. Go to their podcast, Sound, Light, and Frequency. You'll get the full story. But there were parts where it gave me goosebumps. Some of the stuff they were describing. To hear from, Ronald Reagan's Secretary of Energy tell you aliens aren't even the scary thing. That's like the third level. That's the mid-level shit. It gets crazier than that. And they go on to talk about it a little bit, and they kind of come to the understanding, or what they believe was it might implicate really just the meaning of reality altogether, which is crazy, and probably why their show is called Sound, Light, and Frequency. But again, I can't say enough good things. Really enjoyed listening to these gentlemen tell some of their stories. So this is, again, what I wanted to stress as far as the Patriot stuff goes. The Patriot Act, like I said, did not create these legacy programs. What they did is they pulled what I believe happened is they pulled all of these siloed programs that you hear rumored about through all these companies. I believe they pulled them all together into one. This is what you would do. You would pull them all together into an area where you have people that can view it all and put it all together. And what the Patriot Act did was allow that to happen legally. On the back end, within the systems, within the codes, it allowed them to do this. So that's where I'm at with the Patriot Act and the legacy programs at this point in time. What you saw up was Garry Nolan basically saying, fucking Skywatcher's done. Party is over. No more Skywatcher. It was a study. It wasn't going to be a company. It was just a research study. And bye-bye Skywatcher. Pretty crazy. Because, I didn't hear that from anybody on their end, in official capacity. But watch Garry Nolan here. He's at, I believe it's the UAP Summit, where he kind of says, yeah, the Skywatcher program was exactly that. It's a program and now it's done. If somebody wants to fund it again, maybe we'll do it again.
What's weird is they were kind of teasing something, I feel like, the last couple of months, and then not to just hear it's dissolution they were teasing. Kind of weird.
Well, I think didn't they have a deadline?
Yeah, maybe. I you know, I wasn't too into the whole Skywatcher thing.
Yeah,
like, especially with like everyone in the community like either hated it or didn't.
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
kind of avoided it.
Yeah, I mean, I paid attention, but if I'm remembering correctly, they had set a hard date for themselves. And as we're going to hear from Garry Nolan, it seems that they've passed that hard date and are done until further notice. It's kind of a trip.
It could be seen from the ground. The helicopter could not see the object. This was only about 100 feet or so away. And this was post the signal response profile, where Skywatcher had two different signal modalities. One was electronic, the other was so-called human. The people here could not see it, but what was fascinating was that they couldn't get any closer to it, even though they couldn't see it. They were being told to move closer. And here's the object, the video at the time. And what was fascinating was, and you'd have to be an aviator, I guess, to understand this, but according to Jake and others, and I spoke directly to the pilots who were in the plane, as they were trying to get closer, they could not get closer to the object, and all of their instrumentation was going basically haywire. Now, I can't validate that statement other than to believe what it is that people who were in the helicopter at the time are telling me. So, executive summary here of Skywatcher. The data gap we can meet, I still think. We did not, to date, collect the kind of data that I'm comfortable making a formal declaration of yet. But I think we learned a lot about how the data should be collected. And we learned a lot about how those three modalities can better interact. And I still, my feeling is that the science still needs to lead. And so to the extent that there's been a failure in that, I'm happy to take the blame. We did write out the proposal, but it wasn't always followed, especially when things are happening in real time. Methodology, I think.
Now, I'm just going to pause it there. What do you suppose that means, Flak? We did write out a proposal for the methodology, but it didn't always get followed when it came time to the things actually needing to be done.
I've got no idea. I have no flipping clue. What do you think that would be?
So, doing what I do, to me, what that sounds like is failure. It's it's putting lipstick on a pig. It means that you had this scientific requirements that you had to meet in order for this study to be valid. And when it came time to meet all these checkpoints to make it a scientific study, it never happened. Maybe you got close. Maybe you showed the potential. Maybe you showed it could happen. It might happen. But that's a way of saying we did not accomplish what we set out to accomplish. But we did learn some important lessons. It's failure.
Framework that was worked out remains in place, and the objective is to replace anecdote, again, as we all know. But anecdotes should not be thrown away because of the Bayesian utility of them. But that I've hoped I've shown you that the multi-sensor correlation is the absolute key. And then all of these I've already spoken about. And then at least the objective was to produce machine-readable aero intelligence for scientific analysis, and if it simultaneously had utility for the defense.
Now that's funny, because the slide says it was for defense, and they'll take whatever scientific analysis they can get out of it, But what he says is it was for scientific analysis and also maybe some applications for defense.
Department for all of the, let's say, drones that people claim to be seeing. To distinguish a drone from something truly anomalous is something, we really want to know, because you want to shoot down the right stuff and not shoot down, let's say, the wrong stuff. And that's it.
And essentially, just there have been claims that Skywatcher field operations may have involved craft landing or close physical proximity, or not just aerial observation. Is this?
I know you remember the UFO landing. Do you remember who it was?
Oh,
come on.
Fill me in.
He worked at Hooters.
That doesn't help. Like
Batista.
4 of my ex-girlfriends worked at Hooters. They were chefs, by the way. They were lovely cooks.
Batista, buddy. Michael Batista.
I didn't know he worked at Hooters. That just made him a bit cooler, I guess.
I hope
was he was like a punch.
You broke that news. You broke that news. You might not remember, but you actually were the one that broke that news story.
Whoa, awesome. All right.
We didn't know that until you came onto the show. But at any rate, remember, I don't know if you remember, but he was the one that said he saw a UFO land, and he even recorded it, and it looked like some crazy pixel shit almost on his phone. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Actually, I do. All right. So it's coming back slightly now. It's shocking. I don't remember breaking such a riveting story like that. Oh,
yes.
Dang.
It was one of your best. It was better than Panda Watch. But so this is Dolan asking Nolan the question at this UAP summit, like, was there a landing there? Because they know Batista was associated with Skywatcher somehow.
Anything that you know about? Has Skywatcher ever documented or been present for a UAP landing?
Okay,
and if
so
not, or yeah, what's the story with that?
I don't think I'm stepping out of school to say that nothing ever landed. Nor was anything materially collected. And if it was something that I didn't know about. But I don't think that Skywatcher necessarily as an entity needs to continue, because I think we've proven enough about how it should be done, but I think it can be replicated.
Interesting.
So Skywatcher doesn't need to go on anymore, but it could be replicated. And I think he also says, and you could hire me too for the job.
It was expensive. I won't put the number down, but it was expensive.
It's expensive.
If it's going to be done again, we now have still the right people to do it. We have the sites where we can go and control the airspace. We need
the money.
We know how many and kinds of sensors we need to create. We know the kinds of timing and registration of how the instruments operate need to be done. And so it can be done again. And if it is to be done again, I will work again as an observer if it's done in the right way.
On Thursday.
Oh my God. He would work on that project if it got funded again? No.
That means that this one was lucrative enough in one way or another.
That's incredible news.
Like, I'm going to do that again. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's usually why you do anything again.
And then you find out
there's an incentive to it.
He let the cat out of the bag there, that the whole program was like how to shoot these things down, or what to shoot down and what not to shoot down. And he made it sound like it was to shoot down drones that had nefarious intentions, but he didn't actually say that. He just said, so you know which ones to shoot down and which ones you don't. And I think with people like this, you have to really pay attention to what they're saying, because it matters.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you're from New York, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, you feel like some comedy? You want to hear what some people from New York think about UFOs right now, about Trump releasing the UFO files?
Absolutely. Let's go.
This is a good one. Here we go.
Donald Trump
directed
federal agencies to begin releasing government files related to aliens and unidentified flying objects. He pointed to what he described as strong public interest in the issue and called the matter extremely interesting and important.
Let it be released. Finally, somebody's going to tell the truth about something that's really going on in this world.
Do you think aliens have visited Earth?
Yes, of course. They talking about Anunnakis, right? I came across Anunnakis, like they're saying that they gave the human intellect. Maybe, you're alien. I could be alien. We don't never know. Like, are we really the same human beings, or are we just aliens that they tricked us to make us believe that we're humans?
They not
we don't
like
know.
us.
Like, honestly, was a human?
I'll believe it.
Are they?
I mean, you could be an alien, bro. Right now, Flak Magnet could be an alien.
I
could be an alien.
I'm looking in the mirror right now. I'm wondering.
I'm wondering myself.
Dude, I suspect myself of a possible alien-like behavior at the very least.
Man, what if 23andMe was just to round up all the aliens? Holy shit.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy, yo. Well, I haven't been rounded up, so either they haven't got me yet or I'm lucky.
Do you think they would ever say a single fucking thing if they found some kind of like wacky anomalous DNA? Or like, hey, oh my God, you're the long-lost cousin of Jesus. Look at you go. No one will ever find out that cool shit.
I think they know a lot more than they let on, for sure. You think about the advances that AI has allowed to happen, and then
turns out Hitler is related to fucking everyone. That would blow too many people's minds.
Oh God.
Like everyone does it thinking they're related to like Michelle Obama or like I don't know, Joan Rivers. Rest in peace, the sweet woman.
That's the disclosure. Everyone's related to Hitler.
Yeah, dude, and that's the disclosure we can't handle.
He cried himself to sleep tonight because he knew we were all related to Hitler.
Dude, everyone would just come outside and just go, for shame, pointing at each other. And then they'd realize they'd have to point at
we don't
themselves.
have to kill ourselves.
For shame on me.
That's it.
For shame on everyone. It'll at least prove we're all the same. At least that would be equality. We're all terrible, awful people related to terrible, awful people. So.
Now, I do joke, but it's not a joke. I'm sorry to joke about suicide. If you're feeling some kind of way, make sure you call the suicide and crisis line.
I thought you were joking about the Hitler thing. I'm like, well, we would never know that. I'm pretty sure that you don't have to apologize because that's a conspiracy that's still on the table at the moment.
A responsible broadcaster, if it comes up, I just want people to know there's an option there for you, and all you have to do is dial 3 digits on any phone. I don't even think you need service, and they'll be there to help you. So. Sometimes that's all you need. Just saying. So, what do you think of his glasses? See, this is me. I look at this guy and I would be like, this guy's some kind of bum, and he's probably like a multimillionaire.
It's Mark Zuckerberg's cousin.
Exactly.
Zuckerberg.
Right. He's probably wearing slippers. Okay. So, but he's a little on the hesitant side.
When I see it.
Do you believe in aliens, or do you think it's a bunch of hype?
The universe is huge, and I don't want to discount it, but I've never experienced it, and I've never seen anything that would give me valid proof. A lot of the spaceship pictures you see are very fuzzy. I mean, we have expert camera equipment.
I mean, as far as the whole alien thing, I think that we would have to be pretty presumptuous to think, as large as the solar systems are, that we're like the only beings around. That's just my thought. I don't know how far they would be. I don't think about it, but when I do think about it, I think about it's vast. The solar systems are vast, so who knows?
And if they did release a ton of different alien files soon, what do you hope that they would show them?
I hate to say, but I hope they show whatever the truth is, the real truth, because the fact that we have alien files is kind of like something. So it would be interesting as the public to see what we have.
I just think it's another diffusion from the issues at hand.
From what does
the
he
Epstein
mean?
files.
Yes, all these things are a distraction to keep the control of the population, to like put things in people's mind while they get rich while they keep you distracted, they get rich. But look at like this. These people want to live forever. So they got all this education, all these scientists, people doing experiments on people. It's crazy. Like, but they're like doing things where it's like they're expanding, you know, like they're making these new technologies. Like, you know, like the snow, like, is it really snow? It took that long for snow to melt? I don't know. Bill Gates, geoengineering. So they can manipulate all these things, but it's crazy. But you got to stay aware, you know?
Most likely. Everything around nowadays is so weird.
We're the aliens.
We're the aliens. That's your hometown, Flak Attack.
I like that guy. Yeah, that's my hometown. I can't deny it. I'm also not ashamed.
Hell no. I love it. I love it. I also love that we had a gentleman call out the fact that it's most likely a distraction from the Epstein files, which we kind of know it is. Because unless they trot out a ship or the bodies or something, it's just going to be more paperwork that's going to be, you're going to hear different people argue about. It's not going to be any real, boom, here's your evidence, right? At least I don't think. I mean, unless I've missed it, they still haven't released anything, right?
Yeah, and I was had a pile of paperwork to go with it, a bunch of nonsense word salad. You know, it's like how they always give us everything.
Yeah, I don't I don't think there's anything new in there. But do you think Steven Spielberg, because there's a lot of theories about this movie, and you and I both love movies. Do you think Steven Spielberg, that this is what he believes, or do you think this is just another moneymaker because he knows everybody's talking about it right now?
I don't know. I do think that, like, I feel like he's had a CIA liaison, you know, to work on some of those movies.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's something, you know, Bryce, Zabel, and Brent Friedman get into a little bit because they were in Hollywood in the 90s working on these different projects with some of these different filmmakers. And they know for a fact that a intelligence representative reached out to Spielberg. They don't know what the end result of that was, but definitely he had some contact with the intelligence community. But the other thing is, like, he's also told like every story of the lore. Do you know what I mean? Like War of the Worlds, they attacked planet Earth. Give me another Spielberg alien movie. E.T. It's a friendly alien they send back to his ship.
Close Encounters, but for E.T.
Close Encounters,
like,
they're scientists, right? They're researching shit.
You got like
right?
the 2020 and back sort of thing at the end of it. But just back to E.T. real quick, like I don't know, as a kid, I always felt like, all right, you mix X-Men in there and you don't really have aliens, but you have like a mutant gene or intelligence, right? You hamper yourself a little bit so you don't get ET'd, you know, so they don't drag you in a military facility, dissect your brain and take your blood.
Yeah.
That's the morals of the story I always got with E.T.
What I think is interesting, at least so far, of what's in the trailer. We're going to play the trailer here. We're going to play, it's about a minute interview with Steven Spielberg, and then the new Wist trailer that's about 3 minutes long. I put the copyright, Universal Pictures. Hopefully we don't get sued for it. I think we're okay because it's just a preview and we're giving them credit. But it's very interesting in this trailer. Like, there's a lot of symbolism, like a lot.
All right, I'm ready for it. Cool. All right, let's go.
Get ready. We're going to go full screen. If you all got headphones, put them in. Turn your volume up. Make sure the bass is turned up. Surround sound. Here we go, buddy. Spielberg, Disclosure Day.
Ooh. All right, you had me at Spielberg and Aliens. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go wait online. It says June 12th. What would you say? Next weekend? I
already got the camping gear out.
Oh, nice. Nice.
What do you think of that, man? Do you see, like, what do you think of all the symbolism in there?
I'm thinking that weird Wookiee hippie chick who was making the noises over at Burning Man this year. She's like that rapper chick everyone's talking about. Get like a weird press vibe for her. Like this whole movie is just a PR campaign, but at least it's done by Spielberg, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Not usually, especially by PR campaigns. Oh, I think you pulled a me this time. Your mic is off.
Yeah, no, I was saying it looks pretty crazy. Take my money. I can't believe how good that looks. But again, I can, because Spielberg is just a master artist. Like, just holy crap.
Heck yeah. Mr. Gabriel, my phone feels like it's on fire and is
get
about
out of
to
here.
die. Let me boogie. But what's going on later on this week? Because I miss going crazy.
Yeah, dude, just shoot me a message.
All right, hell yeah. I got
Absolutely.
a bunch of openings, so I am fucking up for it, dude. And I have all right, so we may have an angle to attack. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but there's like a lot of Native American art and motifs in some of his homes, especially the New Mexico home. But there was a lot of petroglyphs and things that were in the files where Epstein was taking out a bunch of those scientist dudes to like walk around his property. But being that it's private and it's private land all around there, I doubt it's been well documented, let alone talked about in public. So hopefully we have an expert that can help us talk about that. And I'm trying to right now just get tons of examples so we can overload this beautiful gentleman with way more information than necessary.
Hell yeah. Sounds good, buddy. Well, yeah, that pretty much covers it for this episode of UFO Updates. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so. And Fletcher, have a fantastic day. Thanks for joining us in the chat.
Do you mind if I throw a couple of shouties?
Absolutely not,
out
buddy.
to the boys. I want to shout out my main man Gabriel Speaks, because he's a fucking real one. I want to shout out Sarah Beth, you're a G. Tracy, you're a fucking real one. Who else do we have? We got Fletcher. We have Psionic. I want to say what up to you, big dog. Who else? Oh man,
you got Tracy.
My mind
right?
is gone black. Yeah. We should do him. We should do him like 30, 40 more times. It's just cool guy reference. Yeah, man. I don't want to forget anybody. Red, Tupa. Who else? The haters. Gotta give a shout out to the haters.
Thank
we
you,
wouldn't
haters.
be anything without y'all. And you know what? To aliens. Because of olive branches and shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, dude. I'm so excited to check out Zabel and Friedman's work. And
thank you for pointing them out, dude. Because now I've got like a new podcast to binge.
Yeah, for sure. And an old 90s show to check out, Dark Skies. Don't miss that one, y'all.
Oh yeah, I want to also mention Bert, not Bert. I was gonna say shout out Bert Kreischer. Fucking, I haven't listened to a single thing that Bert has done in months for some reason. So I don't know if I should bring up Bert for Kurt. There you go. That's why Kurt Metzger. He did one with Jamie Deluxe, which was a pretty good episode.
Check it out.
Any of the conspiracy realists out there want to watch a good episode, there you go. But yeah, thank you, Gabriel, for having me on, you sweet boy.
Oh yeah, love you, buddy. Everyone else, have a great night, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.